To the Republican leader of the Budget Committee, the gentleman, and a member of the Ways and Means Committee, gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Smith.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank the gentleman from Texas for yielding. What a mess, Madam Speaker. Truly, what a mess. Just about 9 months ago, I stood on this floor when we were debating the Biden bailout bill, and I warned the gentleman from Nevada how much his seniors in his state was going to lose and in Medicare cuts. I said it state by state by everyone that spoke. And you know what? Everyone on that side of the aisle, Madam Speaker, they act like it wouldn't happen. They still wanted to spend $2 trillion. But guess what? Reality is set in, and we're here. And unless you try to wipe away the scorecard for your reckless spending, seniors are going to have cuts. Why? Because of a law that Democrats passed in 2010, the Paygo Act. Nancy Pelosi loved the act then. President Obama signed that act into law, Madam Speaker. You guys just want to wipe the slate clean. Madam Speaker, we're here today for two reasons. First, because Democrats blew up a bipartisan agreement this afternoon. And second is because there are looming cuts to seniors and farmers and to programs that millions of Americans rely on because of reckless Democrat spending. Republicans have warned since March that these cuts would happen. In fact, the $2 trillion Biden bailout bill that Democrats rammed through Congress is what triggered a sizable portion of these cuts in the first place under the Paygo Act. Their bailout bill is the largest. It is the largest tranche of spending ever added to a Paygo scorecard in the history of Congress. In the history of Congress. The $2 trillion expenditure back in March. Speaker Pelosi said in 2009 that pay-as-you-go budgeting, quote, will help return our nation to sound fiscal health, close quote. It was President Obama who signed Paygo into law, like I stated. But now the Democrat deficit spending is forcing cuts. They're singing a much different tune. In fact, just today, the chairman of the House Budget Committee said, quote, about Paygo, it has never been an effective tool of fiscal policy, close quote. So which is it? The fact is, Democrats should be working in a bipartisan way to protect seniors from these cuts, including those stemming from the Budget Control Act sequester and the Medicare physician fee schedule. But in typical fashion, Democrats have decided to abandon bipartisanship and just kick the can down the road over and over again. We can stop these cuts, but we should do it in a responsible way, one that addresses wasteful spending and puts in place some common sense reforms. How about rescinding money from the Biden bailout bill that is fueling inflation? Maybe Congress could tighten up our laws so federal benefits and payments aren't flowing to illegal immigrants instead of American citizens. Or put common sense work requirements in place for federal programs so American businesses can reopen. Legislation I've introduced today does just that, and I would hope my colleagues across the aisle would support this effort to save seniors.
Fired.
The additional minute.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To save seniors and others from cuts, including those cuts Democrats have directly caused with their reckless spending this year. Since the beginning of this Congress, House Democrats have passed $7 trillion in new spending. We have an inflation crisis, a border crisis, an energy crisis, and Democrats also choose to create a debt limit crisis that they want Republicans to help solve. One party, one rule. This is what you get. Well, we have been clear from the beginning. If Democrats are going to pursue a partisan agenda that adds trillions to the debt, they can find the votes to raise the debt limit themselves. Republicans will not co-sign a loan to enact a radical socialist agenda. I yield back.
The gentleman reserves. Members are reminded to direct their comments to the chair. The gentleman from